trust me, we are listening. We are listening at what you have to say. So, Mr. Sachs, if you will put the first person up.
Thank you, Madam President. And I want to first say that I apologize if I mispronounce any names. I will do my very best. So we'll start with Nate Smallridge.
First off, I'd like to thank you guys for holding this meeting and giving us a chance to hear our side.
And I want, this doesn't count on your time. Put your microphone like this so we can get it on the record.
I'm not big and
Thank
famous
you.
like you guys. So.
Well, you can take it out and hold it, but that's fine.
But like I said, I just want to thank you guys for taking the time to hear our side or a different side. There's going to be a lot of people up here trying to give science and facts, and that's not what I'm here to do today. What I come to tell you about is one kid, not an entire county. My son is an IEP member. Has an IEP, and I'm sure you all are well aware of that. He has a speech impediment, and he also takes speech therapy classes. The inability to see his teacher pronounce words is really hindering his education. And I think that's what we're all here because we all want what's best for our children. My son also does FFA, and he does it into agriculture. He raises goats and things for the fair. We were at the fair in July, and his teacher seen him, and he did not recognize who she was because he had never seen her mouth or face. And it's sad. I mean, the world's changing rapidly every day. And I believe the policies that you guys have put in place are the appropriate ones. You have done the virtual learnings for those that decide that avenue. You're leaving it up to the parents, and I believe that's how America and how it should be done, and I appreciate that. But I also understand that there's some lawyers out there and some people sent you guys some letters, and the last thing this board wants to be held is held liable for a student passing away or something like that, and I get that. So I propose maybe a waiver form. If we could do something where possibly people that choose not to master children can sign a waiver form, and that would obfuscate the school board and the county. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Charles Meadows.
We need the short guy mic here. Good evening. I'm an ICU doctor in town and a professor of medicine, and I think my colleagues have made and will make a decent case for why masks are essentially risk-free and pretty effective. We had no flu season. But tonight I'd actually like to speak as a father and a Christian. Speaking as a Christian, our faith is the story of how the covenant God came to earth to pay the price for our breaking of the covenant, a major sacrifice and a major example. I think a lot of people have come to resist the spirit of the age and see this as some sort of a government control mechanism, but I don't think so. In the book of Revelation, when John sees his vision of heaven, he looks to see the victorious Lord, but instead sees a slain lamb, which is the example for us. There isn't a battle to fight because the lamb has already won. The lamb is won by sacrifice, and he expects his followers to do the same. Now, my fellow Christians and anyone else here, I hate to see us come looking for a fight. It's been a stressful time for all of us. I've been an ICU doctor through all of this, so I know that well. And we know the risk for COVID for kids is low. In Mississippi now, 6,000 infections and only 2 deaths. But if the deaths are preventable, even 1 is too many. So, my friends, I know nobody wants to wear these, but look at the example our Savior gave us in the Luke 15, the parable of the 99 and the 1. The good shepherd will leave the 99 to save the 1. Now, following that example, is it possible that perhaps we can ask our 99 and then some kids to be willing to sacrifice a little inconvenience if it will save the life of the 1? And I think from a Christian perspective, the answer to that is yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dawn Irvine.
Yeah, I'd like to speak on behalf. First of all, I come here not to take jabs at anybody on the school board. As a matter of fact, I'm from Mason County, but my children attend Cabell County schools. First of all, none of you up there have masks on. I think that's great because it shows that you know that masks are ineffective. 99.7% of children will not get COVID if they're under the age of 18 in the school system. They have a better chance of being struck by lightning or getting hit by a car as they come to school than they do of getting COVID. And if they do get COVID, like I said, they have a 99.7%. There's no better odds anywhere in the world than that. But my point is, you all, I think, I made a great decision in the beginning. You were scared off by 12 people that believe in masks. I think you should stay true to your convictions and let the parents decide whether or not they're going to put a mask on their child or not, or let the grandparents. It's not your, in all due respect, it's not your choice, any of it's choice, to decide to put a mask on my child, especially when masks do not work. It's the same as putting a chain link fence up and expecting that mosquitoes won't go through it. Masks are for bacteria, not for viruses. And I want to thank you for at least hearing me out. And I really pray that you all do the right thing. And the right thing is to let parents do their own thing. Thank you very much.
J.D. Underwood.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having us. I find it troubling that we do this after school started. This should have been something beforehand because I would have sent my kid to private school. Fortunately, I have the means to do that, and I would not subject them to a mask. Now, you get them in school, get them started, then you expect us to do something differently. I went to my school's open house Monday night. The overwhelming majority, administration, staff, students, parents were not masked. Overwhelming. It was 20 or 30 to 1, I would estimate. And if you do require masks, will masks be required at extracurricular activities? Are you going to let kids go play football and then come to school the next day? Does the virus stop the day school, when the school day ends?
Wrap it up.
Okay, does it stop the day the school day ends? I don't think so. And if this were as real as they say, the southern border would be closed, they would vaccinate every person coming across that border and give them a mask, as opposed to what they're trying to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
I will email Mr. Sachs the rest of my comments, and hopefully you'll pass them on.
Brendan Beckett.
Thank y'all. Members of the board, I come to you today to represent my son, who is a first grader at Salt Rock Elementary, and to formally oppose the mask mandate that you all may be voting on. I'm not a doctor or scientist, just an old country boy from Salt Rock that has been in the auto collision industry for over 20 years. Ever since I was in trade school for it, we've had to wear respirators while we were either sanding, priming, or painting. This makes a tight seal around the mouth and nose due to base coats and clear coats and paints having isocyanates, which cause irritation of skin, mucous membranes, chest tightness, and difficulty in breathing. After my 20 years, I can tell my lungs ain't what they used to be, even with wearing a respirator when painting. I mean, and this is supposed to take care of stuff that's a lot bigger than, or smaller than what you're all proposing. This right here, what ICAR, or the hazardous waste and all stuff like that, dust or mist masks are only used for large particles that can be seen, such as dust. This napkin with a rubber band ain't going to do it, folks. I'm sorry. They're different, and they do not protect against hazardous contaminants because they are generally loose-fitting and difficult to achieve a proper face seal. Most vapor cartridges respirators include pre-filters for protection against both vapors and particulates. Paint spray, for example, is a combination of both particulates and vapors. sorry, I'm a little nervous here. Last year, our kids' airflow was restricted by these masks. It's without a doubt, they did not have the proper airflow. Their lungs were still developing. We choked them, y'all choked them down, possibly causing future medical issues. Is the board going to be responsible if sometime in the future my child has a lung problem due to prolonged mask wearing? Will they cover the medical expense? I don't think so. This cannot be made mandatory again.
You'll have to wrap it up.
Okay. A small number of people are calling for this, and majority of parents are against it. If you go against the will of the majority, you can and will be replaced. We have been told for 2 years now to trust the science, but as for me and my house, we were trusting the Lord, and with all due respect, we will not comply.
Thank you.
Before I call the next person, it's my understanding that there's several people that may have come in and that did not know how to sign up. So I'm going to ask Mr. Hardesty to take a sheet to the back of the room. If you did not sign up to speak and you wish to do so, you can sign up at the back of the room. Oh, clipboard, sure. I don't need it.
If you have it, just stand up.
Here you go.
If you want to speak, the two in the back.
You go in the back.
Mr. Hardesty. Yeah, just stand up so he can see you.
Dr. Sykes.
Huh?
Yes, all right. The next person to speak is Keisha Crookshanks.
Dr. Sykes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Would you tell the people in the standing, we do have some seats up front. It
Oh,
bothers
yes,
me
we
to
do have some
say-
seats up front if you'd like to, if you don't want to stand, there are some seats in the front of the room. So feel free.
It's a little intimidating. Put it down here? Okay. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
I'm back again. Welcome. You have not had the pleasure to meet me. I'm Keisha Crookshanks. I just want to say we're back again. You know, I think our side of this group of the no mask, we waited last year. We did the virtual because that's what they wanted. We did the blended because that's what they wanted. We waited on vaccines because that's what they wanted. When does our side get their voices heard? I requested numbers today. I don't know if those numbers came through in an email about the attendance the last 2 days. Did those people hold their kids out? What was the quarantine numbers during summer school? I didn't get a response back yet from anybody. I think it's sad. My child's in speech, both my kids. If you can demonstrate speech class with a mask on, I'd love to see it. It's hard for a little boy who has anxiety to put things over his mouth and told that he has to keep it there. He doesn't like things. He has sensory. He has an IEP. I have a little girl who carried fever blisters for 6 months. Disgusting. And I can bring you the medical stuff on Valtrex almost every day. The other part I'd like to know is we're not on a state mandate right now. So like the gentleman said before, are the parents wanting masks at school? Are they not taking them to dinner, sports, church, malls, anywhere? We going straight from school to home. I know you want to control and you want to feel the safety and the fear of lawsuits and everything, but why about the other kids who have been fighting this for a year? When's their shot? They have the virtual option. Virtual is not for everybody, but us working parents had to do it. For 2 years almost, we had to do it and had no choice. The other thing is, I'll wrap it up real quick, I know. You know, summer school, most of these parents I've seen, they went on vacations, they did that. Why stop it now? Just give our side one time. That's all we want, just one time. And I appreciate you all so much. Welcome.
I apologize. I think is it Cliff? Is it Pruett? Yes, sir. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you, Ms. Neely, Superintendent Sachs, for the opportunity. As a pastor, I don't know what I can fit in 90 seconds, but I'll do my best because we can tend to be long-winded. I've got friends behind me that are on both sides of this. I had a couple notes, but I'm going to go try to jump over. I drove school bus for about 15 years between Pennsylvania and New York State. When I got to New York State, there were seat belts on the buses. That was done because of accident, because one child died. The decision was made by the government to put in seat belts, and then they began to have everybody wear the seat belts. If there's a school bus driver here, you know that if there is an emergency or an accident, you cannot and will not get every child off that bus, especially if there's a fire. Why is that? Most parents don't understand that the stuff the seats are made out of ignites within about 1 second to 2 seconds. That was made in haste and was not made in a leadership decision that took a system. Masks by themselves do not work. They have to be done within a system. So I'm sure that for the common good, which it seems that we're losing in our country, but through leadership we can get it back, that through a system of masks, if you're going to sanitize, if you're going to make sure every kid washed their hands, hire the people to make sure their masks fit correctly, that would be something that maybe 30 days we'll try it, then we'll see where we're at. But to put a mask on young kids who are trying to learn to read faces. My grandson, I've got 2 daughters graduated from Cabell. I got a son that's a sophomore, and I got 3 grandchildren that are in my custody, 2 of them which are at Spring Hill. My grandson has an IEP. He's working through sensory, OCD, all kinds of things. Yes, ma'am.
Wrap it up, sir.
Yes, ma'am. For that to be put on our young kids who have not learned that, my son who's a sophomore, and I'll leave you with this, said this last night to me. He said, I asked him how he did as an older, wearing a mask. Did he miss his friends? Did he miss seeing their faces? He said, no, I can see them all the time on social media.
Thank you.
I had a chance to learn.
Sir,
I had a
thank you.
chance to learn
Your time
my
is-
grandkids and our young kids.
Your
have
time
not.
is up. Thank you.
Amanda Penn.
Hello. I would like to thank the Cabell County, can you hear me? The Cabell County Board of Education for allowing me to speak again. I was very encouraged that you decided to have this meeting and really have the opportunity to hear everyone's thoughts. I did want to bring up that today there are only 21 ICU beds in the 3 local medical centers. That worries me because not just for COVID, but what if something else happens? What if my family is in a car accident? You've heard from several physicians and scientists on Tuesday. A lot of them couldn't necessarily be here. You're going to hear from more today. I'm here not just for my child who goes to Cabell County, but for all the kids. I don't want any of the kids to get COVID. I don't want any of the children to suffer. This is one thing that we can do to protect them. The vaccine for 5 to 12 will be out soon, very soon. And we can look at reevaluating at that time. Let us minimize possible exposure in our children and give the vaccine a chance. Listen to the facts, to the numbers, to the medical professionals, to the medical recommendations, the examples of other school districts around the country. By reducing transmission, it will help the disruption of school and of COVID-19. I want my kid to remain in school. I want all of the kids to be able to have a school year. Thank you.
Mr. Sachs, hold on. I'm going to ask everybody in the audience not to react in any way when a speaker is speaking. That is very unrespectful to the speaker. So please hold your whatever emotions to yourself until we get through this meeting. Thank you.
Bethany Henderson.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, members of the board. My name is Bethany Henderson.
Stephanie, honey, just talk into the microphone.
Okay. I came this evening to speak against the mask mandate. I have 2 children that attend school in Cabell County, one at Huntington Middle, the other at Huntington High. I oppose the mask mandate because masks are hot. My son has asthma. When it gets too hot, he starts to cough uncontrollably and then eventually starts throwing up and gets sent home from school. This is his first year of middle school. It's hard to make friends and see your teachers if they wear a mask and they can't see their face. On orientation on Monday, when we went, I had a teacher that I've known for years speak to me, and I didn't recognize her because she had a mask on her face. Masks interfere with education. Can you imagine being a kindergartner, learn to read, and you can't see your teacher's face to read her lips and see how she's making out the sounds? It's the same with a child trying to take a foreign language. Masks are unsanitary. I constantly remind my kids to wash their hands. You know when they go to the bathroom, they don't always wash their hands. Then those germs are going to be on the mask. That's disgusting. It's hard to hear with the mask on. It makes you sound muffled. Most children are embarrassed to ask a teacher to repeat themselves, so it's impeding on their learning, which is very important after missing a couple of years of school at least. Some kids have trouble wearing masks in general. It distracts them from learning. Children who wear glasses have a hard time seeing because their glasses are always foggy. Some kids don't have a problem wearing masks. I see most of you aren't wearing them. You must not like them either. If you wish to wear a mask or have your child wear one, that's your business and your right, and I respect that. It's your family, do as you wish. But you don't have the right to tell me how to raise my children or what to put on their face. Remember, when you go to vote on this mask mandate determines how we as citizens will vote when we go to the polls to vote for you as well. Thank you for hearing me today.
Thank you.
Rona or Ronnie Shull. And you can correct me. Oh, Rana, thank you. I'm sorry.
Hello, I just wanted you to know that I'm a grandmother and my vote is for no masks, please.
Thank you.
Beth Denny.
Hi, my name is Beth Denny, and I am the parent of 5 kids that attend Cabell County schools. I have a 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 5th, and 7th grader. I feel that kids should not be mandated to wear a mask at school, and it is my job as a parent to make a decision on whether or not my child should wear a mask at school. These younger children wearing masks for like 7 hours a day is crazy. They slobber on the mask, they get snot on the mask, they touch their mask, and they don't wear the mask properly. It becomes a petri dish on their face, making them potentially sick and spread germs more than protecting others when wearing it. Masks can't work properly if you are not wearing it correctly. Doctors have said that the cloth masks aren't even effective at stopping the virus, and the surgical masks only work if worn properly. And kids are not really going to wear them properly, especially younger ones. The surgical masks, even though they can reduce exposure of your saliva and respiratory secretions, when the mask gets wet from that, which my young children say happens all the time, masks do not work. And everything that I have read always starts with the phrase, if worn properly. I go to the store and see grown adults not even wearing a mask properly, and they're just in the store for just the amount of time that they need to be in there, and we're asking for kids to wear them for 7 hours a day. They also have, I've seen a data from where states that held school mostly online, states with school with masks, and states that had schools without masks. And the study found that masking children doesn't affect health outcomes, because if it did, the state with strict mandate should have had fewer cases as a rule, but it didn't. I am not a total anti-mask person. I think that you should wear a mask when going to the doctor or hospital. You should wear a mask because there will be people in there that need everyone to help them take precaution. As a parent, I want that right.
Thank you.
Brian Triplett.
Madam President, members of the board, good afternoon. I'll be quick because, as everyone knows, a timer is a bane to people who love to talk. I've come in opposition to a proposed mask mandate for Cabell County schools. I wished I had more time to speak of this, but I don't, so I'll go quickly. I have three primary arguments, which I think the board needs to take into consideration. First, a mask mandate for Cabell County school children is numerically unjustified. Here's why I say that. According to the Cabell County Board of Health's website today, there are 547 active cases of COVID in Cabell County currently. By 2019 U.S. Census data, we have 91,000 people in Cabell County. That works out to a percentage of 0.0059, or put more simply, 1/100th of 1%. For school-age children ages 0 to 20, there are 66 active cases of COVID over a rolling 7-day period. 2019 census data, roughly, there are 19,000 students in Cabell County, school age. That works out to 0.00364, or not even 1/1000th of 1%. A mask mandate for kids in Cabell County schools is numerically unjustified. Number two, masks are ineffective. I wish I had the time to go through this paperwork. There are studies being done by various people, highly credentialed, very good in their fields, that are coming to the same conclusion. The only way a mask is really effective is if it can catch every particle. The COVID particle is smaller, thousands of times smaller than the diameter of a single strand of hair. Now, if you think about how small that is and then think about being smaller, it's worse. Finally, distractions from learning, skin problems, increased CO2 levels in blood may cause breathing anxiety, and as others have communicated, trouble communicating. Ladies and gentlemen, do not do this. For the love of God, don't do this.
Mike Midkiff.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for the chance to speak. I thought we had this settled 2 weeks ago. Anyway, I heard an ugly rumor that you were threatened with legal action if you were going to continue with your decision to not have a mask mandate. And I'm not here, last time I said I wasn't going to argue the efficacy of masks or science or anything like that, because everybody seems to get their own science, and I think that that's not going to produce anything. I think everybody here, whether you're pro-mask or anti-mask, I think everybody has the kids' best health at heart, and I think that's their desire. But I think more of us here believe that masks do absolutely zero to prevent the spread of viruses. Yesterday, in case you missed it, I wanted to make sure I shared with you that the governor at his COVID briefing said, we are trying to not be evasive. We're trying to give people that are on the ground in their counties flexibility and control within their counties. We're giving the parents complete flexibility. The parents should be the people that are the decision makers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Michael Hanft.
Two days ago, I spoke to you, and I told you as a social worker that I wish that you could speak to me and I could listen. But it's apparent to me that you did listen because you called this meeting, and I appreciate that. I'm going to reiterate what I said the other day. I don't know anybody who wants this. This is an awful situation. It's been an awful situation, and let's be honest, it's going to continue to be an awful situation. I don't want my child to have to wear a mask. I believe it's in their best interest. Now, other people here, and I respect their beliefs, do not believe it's in their child's best interest. However, my comment is this. If you look at what's happened over the last week with schools reopening, it's not about whether one kid gets it. It's not about whether one kid has a mask on. In Mississippi alone, you have 20,000 kids right now, roughly, who are on home quarantine because there isn't a mask mandate. If you want anything close to normal school, until a vaccine can come out and those kids who choose, their parents choose to get it for them, you are going to be basically quarantining left and right. That is the fact. It's already happened in this county. Give it 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and I guarantee you half of your schools are going to be home on quarantine, because all it's going to take without masks is one kid to get positive, and that whole room is going to be out. I don't envy the position you're in, but I respect the job that you're doing. Thank you very much.
Butch Day. All right, thank you. Tyler Clay.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Tyler Clay. I'm an internal medicine clinical pharmacy specialist
Speak a little
and
louder.
a professor of infectious diseases at Marshall University School of Pharmacy. I'm here this evening to provide a different perspective. You're going to hear a lot of opinions. You're going to hear a lot of facts. But I want you to know that, again, our hospitals are filling up. Again, our ICU beds are filling up. Again, our ERs are overrunning. This is a simple decision. This decision is backed by the American Academy of Pediatrics. It's backed by the Centers for Disease Control. It's backed by every healthcare agency in the state. I know that this board has the health of our children as their first priority and will, without a doubt, act upon that and reenact the mask mandate.
Missy Thomas? Or Turman? I'm sorry.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My name's Misty Turman. I have 2 children at Cabell Midland. I do not have a medical degree or background other than I've made medical decisions for my children all the way up to this point. So I'm just here as a mother. I'm standing up here as a mother asking you to politely stop trying to take my job away as the main caregiver of my child. I'm standing here asking you to stop caving. Stop caving to the guilt being pushed at you. Stop letting them push fear and guilt on our children. Stop ignoring individual rights. Stop taking the other options off the table because some parents are uncomfortable with it. You have accommodated the ones who are not ready to be maskless by offering virtual classes. They have a choice to mask their children if they want to. Do not take our option away. When is it ever going to be safe enough? All we hear is mask up, flatten the curve, take the vaccine, social distance, stay locked in your home. The target keeps moving. Why? I know why. There's no end. I refuse to be led by fear because I know in my heart that my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ would not want me to live that way. In closing, I want to say, I never thought in a million years that I would be standing here in front of the Board of Education at my second meeting only to fight to free my child's face. The very second that you vote to take that option for our children to go maskless off the table will be the exact moment that you have successfully divided our county. I've always told my children to stand up. And to all the parents out here, this is our time. This is our time to stand up and show our kids. I'm finished, but God bless all of you all. Thank you for your time.
Sidney McElroy.
Hi, I'm Sidney McElroy. I'm a mom and I'm a family doctor. Thank you for having this meeting. I spoke Tuesday, and the fact that you had this meeting already tells me that you're listening, you hear us. I always tell my children that one of the things you have to do sometimes is stand up and do what's right, even in the face of a lot of people wanting you to do what's wrong. And that's very brave. And it's a wonderful lesson you're teaching our children that, you know, with science, things change. And when we get new data, we change if we're smart and we're caring and we're thoughtful. And you've modeled that for our community. And I appreciate that from all of you. I also want to say, I told you last time that our pediatric intensive care unit at Cabell has been on diversion for 3 weeks. We do have 2 empty beds, but we can't staff them due to staff being out due to COVID, so we're still having those issues. Our COVID unit is full and overflowing into our backup unit currently, and this is before schools have really gotten going and the virus spreads further. In addition to being a doctor and a mom, I'm a teacher. I teach residents and students at Cabell, and I lead a team, and the hardest thing our team can go through is when we're taking care of a patient and we lose them. But the one thing I always tell them that helps us get through is we sit down, we talk it out, and we say, did we do everything we could? Because that's how you look yourself in the mirror at the end of the day. That's how you go to sleep at night, is to know I did everything I could to save that life. Right now, there's a thing you can do. Pass this mask mandate, and you will save a life. It is a thing you can do. I know there's been a lot of misinformation and fear in this room, and I take partial responsibility for that. I'm a healthcare professional, and we failed in a public health mission to get the right message out. Masks work, they save lives, they protect our children, and I'm sorry for everyone in this room who has been led to believe otherwise, because I am part of the problem that we didn't get that message out as scientists and doctors clear enough to the public. Please stand with us. Please help us protect children. Thank you.
Mike Smith.
I just wanted to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak in front of you. Tuesday was my first board meeting. I thought it went wonderful. I mean, I liked the procedure, the way it went. And when I saw the COVID, the rules that the policy you put in place, I thought it was great, because I'm a constitutional guy, and it follows the Constitution as far as our individual liberties as parents, that we get to choose for our children, not a bureaucracy or anything like that, but we get to choose for them. And I believe that's important, especially for our educational system, that we stand with, we said the pledge for that Constitution and for our country. So I think you all should stand strong with what you have, be convicted with what you put in place, because it is right. The mandate is not. It's not right as far as individual liberties and the Constitution, and to maintain freedom. We need that. Thank you.
Ms. Crabtree? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't get your first name on there. I'm sorry.
Thank you for letting me speak. This is my second time. This is my second time speaking. Can you hear me? Okay, sorry. I'm a Cabell County school bus driver, and I service Highland Elementary, Huntington East Middle School, and Huntington High School. I come here today with the hope of shedding some light on why masks have potentially high risk factors on a bus. First, let me start by saying I speak from experience, and I have witnessed firsthand the repercussions of a mask mandate. My goal is to get my kids to school safely, to and from. You may be wondering why masks are a potential safety hazard on a school bus. Let me explain. I wear glasses. As do many other drivers. And there's no question that your glasses can be fogged and they can become steamy. And when you're breathing through a mask, that creates a huge distraction when your glasses fog up. It can cause those who are in the best of health to experience shortness of breath and at times the feelings you're hyperventilating. With that being said, it has, and it does create a very unsafe condition when driving. Here's a scenario. What if I'm approaching a stop and my glasses become fogged and I literally cannot see? And in a split second, I veer into an opposite lane into oncoming traffic and I have a serious accident injuring my kids or others. What if one of my kids have a seizure and is foaming at the mouth or swallowing his tongue, and there is absolutely no way I can recognize what is happening with the covered face, nor would any other student be able to determine the same thing? Where and who where does the liability fall upon? God forbid either of these things happen. Imagine hearing my kids coming out of school after a long day of being masked and saying, Mrs. Crabtree, I couldn't wait to get some fresh air, and then I have to tell them to mask back up while they get on a bus. Honestly, I feel I'm stealing their freedom and their right to breathe. I have given you only a few examples of what could go wrong with the mask mandate on a school bus, but I know my fellow drivers have their own what-if questions. With that being said, I want to go on to the record here and now in front of this board and every person in this room that I or any other driver for that matter goes out here and we have an accident and it is found to be because the peripheral vision is compromised. Please, please. If you do your research, you will find that the likelihood of a child dying from COVID has a far less ratio than a driver having an accident with multiple children on a bus and even causing serious injury to those who were not on the bus. Can you imagine how easy an attorney could slap a lawsuit on this council if the driver was found guilty of an accident all because of the obstructive vision of wearing a mask? Or if a child dies from a seizure because medical attention was not given?
Mrs. Crabtree, thank you. Your time is up. Thank you.
Amanda Coleman.
Hello. Thank you for taking the time to listen to what we have to say.
You're going to have to speak up just a
Can
little
you hear me
bit.
now?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Basically, what I wanted to say tonight is that we shouldn't be listening to opinions and making this decision. I have an opinion. Everybody in this room has an opinion. But epidemiologists, the CDC, the American Academy of Pediatrics have issued guidance that is based on their experience, their education, and they are the people that we should be listening to in this case. I do agree that parents have rights to make decisions for their kids. I certainly want to make decisions for mine. I made the decision to keep them out since March of 2020 and want them to be able to go back right now. And I think they ask people not to make comments or make like rude noises when people are speaking. I've been very quiet and respectful while you all spoke. Your rights as an individual in our society ends when you start to infringe on somebody else's rights. And when you endanger my child, then you are infringing on my right or my child's right. I grew up in this town. I was taught by Cabell County school teachers and Sunday school teachers and my parents that I should care about what happens to others in my community, that I should look out for other people. What is happening here tonight is not consistent with that messaging. We should be caring about what happens to others. We should be looking out for the other person, particularly our children who cannot be vaccinated yet. I'd also like to add that, hold on, my phone turned off and I had one more thing I wanted to say, I'm sorry. I know I have 30 seconds. My child also has an IEP. He also is in speech therapy. He did it virtually for a year. I would much prefer he have a delay in speech than be dead. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lindsay Odell. Lindsay Odell.
Hello. I'm going to come with you all from another perspective.
In the microphone.
I have a 6-year-old. Half of his school life has been masked. His pre-K, his kindergarten, and now his first grade. He has no idea what school is supposed to be like. I walked into his school one time last year. It looked like a jail cell. They had plexiglass all the way around them. My son was excited yesterday because he got to sit at the same lunch table with another kid. How sad is that? He can't get his juice box open. He doesn't drink it because he can't ask his buddy for help. If anybody knows me, you know I'm not shy, but my child is so shy. He will not raise his hand. He will not get the attention drawn on him. He will not take off that mask for any reason unless a teacher gives him permission to do so. So, kids like this, you're saying that 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds have enough intelligence to know whenever their body is about ready to overheat and to remove that whenever they're on the playground or whenever they're in gym? Because mine wouldn't. He does not want to get in trouble for anything. Whenever you all think back to your kindergarten, you think about memories, plays, your parents got to come to school, that kind of thing. We did the 100-day of school shirts, like everybody does, right? This is what my kid wanted to do last year. When he thought of school, he thought of mask. He didn't think about learning to read or write or count to 100. He thought about having to put this on every single day. If I had enough money, I would send my child to private school because apparently this virus doesn't hit them. If you have enough money, you are able to send your child to school unmasked and 5 days a week. Thank you.
Kimberly Bowen.
Thank you for hearing us. How have the past mask mandates affected our once carefree and trusting children? I spoke with a wonderful local pediatrician. He was appalled that so many of his patients are coming in anxiety-ridden and depressed. He was actually having to medicate them. During the mask mandate, my 6-year-old granddaughter and I went to the store for bananas. She adjusted her mask 12 times. And, you know, in the 5 minutes we were there, I kept saying, don't touch her face, but she couldn't seem to help it. See, she's a kid. This is also the child that refers to every memory as before the sickness. Those memories are now stained with sickness. When the kids got to go to class toward the end of the last school year, I asked how it was. My 11-year-old granddaughter, who's always enjoyed every aspect of school, said, I didn't like it. People got too close to me. My social butterfly lost her wings with masks all around as a stark reminder. My 13-year-old grandson was one of the many that had to be medicated for depression. This summer, I asked him, where is your smile and why aren't you enunciating properly? He said, I had to wear masks so long, I guess I just got out of the habit. I asked, how do you feel about masks? And he said, Mem, they made me feel invisible and kind of lonely. Yeah, now he requires medication. So here we are. We've had a lovely summer, relatively mask-free and communicative. We wash our hands often, we avoid touching our faces, and we stay home when we're sick. Albeit the cold, flu, or COVID back to basics works. I'll leave you with this. If you, our representatives, decide to mandate masks, what you're actually doing is mandating fear and mental duress within our children, and that is unacceptable. And I know how many.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, Mrs.
Bryce Smith.
Happy to be here. I was here on Tuesday, my first board meeting ever. Not a crowd like this. You can agree with that. I'm very proud for the amount of people that came out today to oppose the mask mandate. I'm soon to be a stepfather of a girl back here who's going to be at Martha Elementary, and to see her go to school every day with a mask on kills me. She don't even know what her friends look like. She struggles every day. She can't breathe, and I know for a fact that she's breathing in all the stuff that's hanging around on that mask. Second thing is, with this mask mandate, it is doing nothing but stomping on our constitutional rights. Mandate itself just leads to an authoritarian ideology. I can't take it. It needs to stop now. The mandate has gone off long enough, and the policy that you have set in place is perfect. You're allowing these people to choose what they want to do. You give me the choice. They have a freedom. The parents to choose. If they want to wear a mask, by all means, have them wear the mask. But to tell me that I have to make them to do that is appalled for. We have a choice. And if they don't want their child to go to school because not everybody is wearing a mask, you have set up a program to where they can learn from online. I mean, you got something set in place, stick to your guns and hold to it. Thank you.
Carrie Wallace.
Thank you for allowing us to speak. I didn't come with any prepared remarks.
I just, as a parent of a 7-year-old who has a speech delay, have been watching this go on, and I'm going to get emotional, but it's very frustrating. My child doesn't know how to say words because he can't see faces. He can't learn how to make sounds because he doesn't know what his teachers look like. And he was so happy yesterday to go to school and today to go and not have to wear a mask. And one of the teachers said, "Oh, but tomorrow you'll have to." He came home devastated and crying. I thought, I'm not going to let this happen. I've got to go say something. Now, I do have a master's degree in biology, so I do have some knowledge of medicine and background, and also own a business, so I see it from all sides. But anyone that says that the evidence is settled and that masks on children is going to prevent the spread, they aren't looking at all the data. There's data, it's out there. So I'm at least smart enough to know that I don't know all the answers, but I'm smart enough to make a choice. And this county has set it up to where if you're afraid, you don't have to go out to dinner. You can wear a mask. If you believe that masks are effective, by all means wear them. Wear them all the time, wear 2, wear 3. I don't care, that's your choice. You can put your own child in a mask, or you can stay home and virtual learn. We have that set up. We have all these options. But my child needs to go to school. He needs to see people. He needs to see their faces. He needs to see how the shape of the mouth makes sounds. He's 7 years old. And, and the pediatrician said the damage that's happening to children and their speech development, this is permanent. It's not when we decide that we made a mistake, they aren't going to get this back. It's permanent. So I just ask and I beg of you to please stick to your guns, do the thing that you said that you would do, give us the choice. I'm a mother. I don't co-parent with the government, with the Board of Education, with anybody. I'm the parent. I want to do what's right for my child. So with all due respect, I appreciate you allowing me the time, and please, no mask mandates. Thank you.
Wait. I'm going to again caution you, when someone is at the microphone and you are clapping, it makes it hard for us to really hear up here what she's saying. So please hold your applause. If you want to applaud after she speaks or after one person speaks, that's fine, but don't do it when they're speaking, please. Respect that. Thank you.
I believe this is Phil. Is Parlock? All right, thank you.
Hi, guys. I appreciate having a chance to talk. You guys are used to listening to my now 121 years of wit and charm experience with the Cabell County Board of Education. Hey, to understand this group back here, you got the masky people and the unmasky people. The masky people push the masks, they push the vaccines, they push it on everybody just like a loudmouth lib. The unmasky people are like, we just don't do it. They're not protesting. These people aren't protesting anything. Just like, we don't mask. It's our choice. We don't do it. They're normal folk. They take the risks. Now, we all know that our students are the least at-risk population. They're not at risk of getting hurt, killed. They may pass this on, but if the masks work, then wear a mask when you come to school. Don't get sick. Don't take it home to your family. If you don't wear a mask, you take that risk. You might get sick, and you might take it home to the family. But that is a choice that we have. There's a conflict here. You've got governors versus governors. You've got the president versus governors. You have the president against himself saying, mask until vaccinated. Now he's saying, remask and revaccinate again. That doesn't work. Look, anecdotally, 4 of my children had COVID already. My 4-month-old grandson had COVID. Their mom had COVID. My daughter at the Air Force Academy had COVID. We took that risk. We got it. They got over it. You're here to educate the kids. That's your duty. Your duty is not to protect the entire society. Marginal this equals marginal that. You can't say that the marginal cost of masking people and having a whole society of people run around with Anyway, you're not here to protect Susie's cousin's sister's grandmother. You're here to educate the children. If masks work, they're going to work. The people that want the masks, wear them. If you don't want the mask, they take that risk. But you're our children are not going to die from this. Statistically speaking, and everyone says the same thing. Thank you.
John Mann.
Hello, good evening. My name is John Mant. Thank you all for inviting everybody to come and speak. That is very awesome that we listen to people and then we make some judgments. Serving in the House of Delegates, being a business owner here in town, having children, and married to a Cabell County teacher. I think it's very important, and we learned this during session, and it's my strong belief that we should never mandate or tell somebody what to put into their bodies or that they have to wear a mask. It's unconstitutional and it's wrong. The vaccine is not even FDA approved. That's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about masks. The thing with the mask is, and in my opinion, if you're worried, then wear one. If you're not worried, then don't wear one. We have freedoms, and those people that want to push the masks on us are infringing on our freedom. And that's just how I feel, and I just want to thank you all for listening. I know you'll make a good decision, and thank you all. And I'd like to thank everybody for showing up this evening and speaking on what they believe in too.
Chris Fay.
Hello, everybody on the board, superintendent. Thank you for giving us a chance to speak. My name is Chris Fay, resident of Heintzen, and I have two children. I have two children in the Cabell County school systems, and I had some remarks prepared. They were going to be 3 minutes, but I have half that amount of time, so I'll just make it short. I'm glad to see everybody here who came to speak against the mandate and in support of your guys' original decision. I think you guys made a well thought out decision to give everyone the choice, the families the choice that they deserve. I know you've had a lot of people come up here to give you the basically the CNN talking points about the cost of this crisis, but again, I would just reiterate that the mission here is to get our kids educated. They lost almost an entire year. Every child lost almost the whole year last year, and we're way behind, and we don't need any more distractions. We gave the masks a chance for the year. We did all the social distancing, and our kids are ready to go back. My kids, if they find out that they got to wear masks, they're going to be super heartbroken. They were really enjoying the new year, as normal. And I just want to say that, I had so many more things to say, but I just want to say that thanks to everybody who came to speak against it, and to everybody who is here in support of the mask mandate. I want the council and I want everybody here to know that you are opposed, okay? There are people out there who oppose this. We have a right, and we're going to stand up for it. Right. So this is my first time here. It won't be the last if this comes up again or on other issues. I think a lot of people here are now awake. So we are going to keep talking about this. We're going to keep pushing for our children. And I thank you for giving us the opportunity.
Angela Fowler. Angela Fowler. Oh, there we go.
That's better. Hi, guys. I know most of you. I've had some of your children, grandchildren in class before, so this is not my first time here. I know some of you out there. I am here tonight as a parent, first and foremost, of my 6-year-old. I started calling you guys last year in June. She was made to do the presidential running test in June, 90-degree heat, outside in a mask. By the time she got to me, she was dehydrated, sick, and I had to keep her home from school the next day. That's on record. Again, I started calling you all then, including the State Department, and they said that that was ridiculous and that rule needed to be changed. Right after that, me go to my notes real quick, because some of this, honestly, I didn't plan on speaking this evening. And I told her, I said, we're gonna be really late, because I just left Milton Middle, but here we are. I came in late, and I'm talking to you all. Thank you for that. But a decade worth of studies that show that wearing a face mask in public not only does not protect you with this, it can make you sick. It is causing people anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts. Guys, I've taught for 16 years. I've already lost 8 kids to suicide. Don't make this another reason. As a mother of a 6-year-old who has a 504 because she's in bifocals, she can't see. She has the paperwork. It's there. You all have access to it. Look at it. She has to know where a trash can has been moved. They have to help her on the recess play stations so that she knows where she's at. Okay? Things like that. As a teacher, I'm not even going to go into all my notes. As a teacher, I had 10, 11, and 12 last year at Cabell Midland, and I loved them. Some of those kids I had for 3 years. They wouldn't talk to each other. They called it a muzzle. And I was actually setting best friends together in hopes of collaboration. What teacher does that?
I do not want to wear the mask. It is making me sick.
Dr. Eva Tackett.
Good evening. Thank you guys for having me this evening. I'm a local pediatrician and internal medicine physician. I was asked from the American College of Physicians at the state level to come and represent them in hopes of a mask mandate. We as physicians often think of things as a risk versus benefit. We have a large amount of scientific evidence that say that masks do not provide a risk, but they do provide a benefit. We're trying to prevent droplet spread, not only of the Delta variant of COVID, which is much different than the initial COVID, and it does affect children much differently than it did last school year, but also the droplet spread of RSV and influenza. Our hospitals are overran at this time, our units are full, and it is very stressful in the medical community. And I have the same goal as almost everyone else in this room. I want to see kids in school. That's the healthy way to go. And the way that we do that is we mask, because then we do prevent quarantine. Thank you all.
Carol Ann Williams.
Can you hear me? Hello, thank you all for your time. I don't have a big speech. I just have a little girl that is 4 years old, and she means everything to me, and I will want to do everything I can to protect her. And at this time, there is no vaccine available to her age group, and there might not be for a while. So I just hope that you all will keep those kids in mind to keep them safe. And people can sigh at me all they want, because I'm not here for them, I'm here for her. I just hope you'll keep that age group in mind that has no other option to protect them, at least until then, and then we can all actually make a real choice, because then it's a whole different ball game. Thank you.
Whitney Vaughn.
Okay, I didn't make anything formal, but I just want to say this is supposed to be no child left behind state. It's not happening with any of the kids with IEPs. We all have the rights for them. If people want to wear masks, they can wear masks, but you're leaving all the kids behind who have IEPs because they can't see, they can't do what they're supposed to be able to do, or if they have asthma, they're not being able to participate fully. It's a no child left behind, and a fourth, if not more, are being left behind and pulled even further behind every time they have to mask up. It's not fair and it's not right. You made the decision already. We need to follow through with that decision. If people want to be at the party or whatever that they want to wear masks, they have to wear masks. Great. If you think they work, good for you. Wear the mask because obviously you think they work. So why does everyone else have to wear them? Because if your mask protects you, cool, then it doesn't matter what my mask does for you. Same with the kids. If my kid chooses to not wear the mask, it's not affecting someone who is wearing it because they think that mask works, then it still works for them.
But all the kids with IEPs, they can't see when they're talking. They can't do the speech class if they've got anxiety disorders, or if they have social processing disorder where they can't do certain textures. That doesn't work, and then it messes up learning even more. We just need to focus on the children, which is where it needs to be, because health is a full thing. It's not just, you know, shots and this, that, and the other. There's the psychological aspect of it and everything else, and it's not being followed through with. Like she said, there was 8 suicides alone from her kids. It's a broad spectrum. It's a holistic thing. Health is holistic. It's not just medical and pills and prescriptions and shots that are not FDA approved. That's all I wanted to say.
Fred Ray.
I appreciate the opportunity to do this. This is my first board meeting, and certainly will probably not be my last. I have a junior at Cabell Midland. I also have an 8th grader at Milton Middle. Both honor students. All 4 of the individuals in my house, my wife, both girls, we all had COVID, survived COVID. My point is, I like the mandate as it stands. We have the freedom to choose whether we want the vaccine, whether we want the mask, whether we don't as well. And to the mother and teacher that had 8 students to pass, to choose to take their lives over because of this. If you look statistically, nationwide, suicides are up for children, and that's devastating. Children, not even just children, 25, if you're 25 years and younger, you have a greater chance of being struck by lightning than dying of this disease. We hear the healthcare professionals talk about hospital rates and those kind of things, and they're all true. But the fact that we've masked our children, we have quarantined our children, which has enhanced or has depleted their natural immunities. We are destroying their built-up immunities. And now when they get back, now we're unmasked, and now they're back into the real world. RSV, you don't hear them say RSV and the other sicknesses that are in the hospital that are occupying those beds. That's what's going on in the hospital. I have family members that have died because of this virus. Okay, I don't take the virus lightly. Okay, I take it very seriously. I also take my freedoms seriously and my decisions that I make for what I'm going to do in my home and for my children very seriously. The vitamins, the food, the things that we do in my home, I take that very seriously because that's my decision. The CDC last month said themselves that even they said that the PCR testing that we've done for the last year and a half does not even differentiate in between COVID-19 and the regular flu. So how many of those numbers that we're looking at are flu or COVID-19? We need our freedoms. I respect you guys. Thank you.
Madam President, that concludes the list of delegations that I have.
We want to thank everybody that came to express their concern. At this moment, I'm going to ask for an executive session. Or do you want to go? I would like to ask for an executive session.
Madam, can we?
Please do not have me ask you to step out. If you can't control yourself, just step outside.
Madam President, can we just take a 1-minute recess?
That's what I'm asking
Just
for.
just a recess, so that I can. We need to talk about something.
Okay, we are taking a 1-minute recess. All those in favor? We need a motion?
Yes.
Need a motion to go into recess
For 1 minute?
for 1 minute.
Okay, so moved.
Mrs. Smalley moves.
Second motion.
Bishop Shaw seconds that we are going into recess for 1 minute. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Can we step out here?
The bathroom
I'm not going to make a statement. I decided not to because I probably did.
Well, you said you had already moved on.
Hey, listen. I think the next move, instead of, I think maybe he ought to go over both options with us, and then we can ask questions.
Hold on. Okay. We are back. We are back from our half-minute recess. I am going to ask Dr. Sachs to give us 2 or 3 options that we have. Dr. Sachs, please.
Thank you, Madam President and board members. The other night when you had asked for the emergency session, you had also asked that I come up with an option for the board to potentially consider. So what I've provided with you for you this evening is 2 options. The first option for consideration is obviously continuing on with the plan that had been established several weeks ago that was communicated with families. And in part of that, just to make sure that the board is aware, is that the mask wearing would be a personal decision for students and staff. However, the district will support, reinforce, and encourage mask wearing for those students and staff who wish to do so, especially those who are not vaccinated. I do, as a matter of full transparency to the board, I have spoken with our chief health officer as well as the Cabell County Health Department, and they do not support this option. I do want you to know that they do not support this option that I was bringing this evening to you, because they prefer that any recommendation they're going to make is to follow the CDC guidance. So with that also being said, though, I think it's important to note that with option 2, there are several things that more or less that they could also not go along with, but I also felt compelled to provide this as the other option, as a somewhat of a middle ground, I guess. So with that being said, I'll explain option 2 that I'm bringing, and of course the board has the ability that if they choose to vote on any one of these items, they can obviously amend. This is not in the form of a recommendation specifically, it's just options to consider. But for option 2, as it relates to kindergarten through 12th grade and adult programs for all students and staff, option 2 would state that beginning August 20th, 2021, all staff and K-12 and adult program students will adhere to the following mask requirements. And so I'm on page 2. All staff, students, and visitors, regardless of COVID-19 vaccination status, are required to wear masks in school buildings unless an underlying health condition precludes mask use. If such condition is present, then a student face covering exemption form would need to be completed by a healthcare provider. Employees with a documented medical condition prohibiting the wearing of a face mask should consult with the appropriate personnel office regarding the process for requesting an exemption. Face coverings would not be required outdoors, but may be worn if individuals are more comfortable doing so. All staff and students, regardless of COVID-19 vaccination status, are required to wear a mask on school buses, again, unless an underlying health condition precludes use, and as such, they would need to have the face covering exemption form that would have been completed by a healthcare provider. Regarding music and choir classes, all singers would need to wear masks indoors. However, music, singing, and choir instruction would still need to occur. Gaiters and face shields would not be approved as substitutes for face masks. A staff member who is alone in their classroom or other office area may remove their mask if no other student or staff are present. Staff members conducting meetings in offices or classrooms should wear masks unless all adults have been vaccinated and remain more than 6 feet apart. Students are not required to wear a face mask while actively eating or drinking during school meal times. If Cabell County is designated green or yellow on the West Virginia DHHR, which is the Department of Health and Human Resources map, for a period of not less than 5 days, and with the consultation from the Cabell County Health Department, the use of face masks for K-12 and adult program students and staff is not required, but would be strongly encouraged for unvaccinated individuals. Pre-K students and staff, so I just covered K-12 students and adults, but for pre-kindergarten students and staff, a parent who wants their pre-K child to wear a mask is asked to send their child to school with a face mask. However, students in pre-K programs are not required to wear face masks. If a parent wants their child to wear a face mask, they should communicate their wishes with the child's teacher so that the mask wearing can be supported through positive reinforcement. Face masks will be provided each day for students who wish to wear a face mask if they did not have the ability to have one. All pre-K staff and visitors, regardless of COVID-19 vaccination status, would be required to wear a mask in school buildings unless an underlying health condition precludes such mask use. And again, those employees with those documented medical conditions would need to contact the appropriate personnel office. So those are the two options that I'm presenting to the board. Again, I consulted with the health department as well as our chief health officer. They obviously do recommend option 2, but there again, because they wanted us to follow all of the requirements of CDC, there were, as a matter of full transparency, they would have preferred that we would have required face masks outdoors for students. They also did not feel like staff that would be in the building, even if they had been vaccinated, and they were meeting in a room, should be permitted to be able to take the mask off, even if they were social distanced. So again, and then of course, they would have preferred that we would have followed the CDC tracking as to when to lift the mask requirement or what have you. The reason that I left it as the DHHR is because I think that that's what we're all familiar with, and it would create less confusion. I think that under option 2, if a mask mandate is to be required, that not giving some form of a definitive calculation or a metric to establish when we would lift it leaves people sort of hanging. It also, I think, clearly provides the rationale as to when we would lift the mask requirement. So, Madam President, board members, those are the options that I'm presenting this evening for your consideration.
Thank you, Dr. Sachs. I'm just going to say very, very little. I do understand, and I appreciate each and every one of you for coming out and voicing your concerns and about the mask and about not wearing the mask. I do worry because I have grandchildren that can't get vaccinated because they're too young, so do worry about that. I also understand that the parents that don't want to put the mask on their children, that is their prerogative, that is their constitutional right. My grandchildren will be wearing a mask. And so I am for option 1, leaving it as it is. And honestly, I hope and pray that my decision doesn't cause any child to come down with the COVID-19, and for God's sake, that any child would die while I am on this board. I would hate to have that on my head, but it is your right to send your children to school with a mask or without a mask. So that is my decision. Are there any other discussions? I know Mrs. Bond has something she wants to say.
Thank you, President Neely. President Neely, my fellow board members, Dr. Sachs, and my community. It was absolutely my pleasure to listen to you this evening. I do have a prepared statement, and I ask that you let me get through it, if you would, okay? Something I say all the time is this: very rarely is the popular choice the right one. Our community is split down the middle when it comes to the mass debate, but each side believes the other side is the minority. While researching, I was upset to find a lot of conflicting information regarding masks. So what's the right choice concerning masks? I have come to a conclusion that it depends on who you ask and what you read. I have truly listened to each delegation. I have read many emails, and I want to sincerely thank everyone who shared their thoughts, their concerns, and informational links with me. I truly appreciate you, and thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
Sorry.
Sorry, Mrs.
I'm sorry, President
I thought
Neely.
you were through. Go ahead.
Eleanor Roosevelt said, "Do what you feel in your heart to be right, for you'll be criticized anyway." With that said, I believe that if you are not vaccinated or not old enough to receive the vaccine, you should wear a mask, and I strongly encourage you to do so. But I do not believe in mandating masks at a county level. I believe in a family's right to choose, and I believe in parental responsibility. Every choice we make has consequences, and as a parent, I am responsible for my children.
Absolutely.
My two oldest, like myself, are fully vaccinated. I am not wearing a mask. They are not wearing a mask when they go to school because that was my choice. My three youngest children, they're not old enough to receive the vaccine. And they are wearing a mask when they go to school because that was my choice. Right. I want every family to have a choice. We do not have to agree with each other in order to be respectful of each other. And I'm going to leave you with this. Giving families the right to choose not to wear a mask does not in any way remove anyone else's right to choose to wear one. Thank you.
Mr. Parsons, do you have anything?
I have 3 children in school.
Are you on?
I have 3 children in school, 15, 16, 17. 2 of them will not wear a mask, but my baby will. He's 15. That's his freedom. And your freedom is what the Constitution says. Your freedom. I am for freedom.
Okay. Mrs. Smalley, you have any comments? Okay, Mrs. Smalley has no comments. Therefore,
Bishop Shaw.
Oh, Bishop Shaw, I am sorry. Bishop Shaw, you have a comment.
I do, Madam President.
Please.
I thank you for allowing me to have my comment.
I almost didn't. Go ahead.
I noticed that.
Go ahead.
I too thank each and every one who came to express their concerns and their opinions as to the mask or no mask. But I understand, and I'm proud to be a member of this board. I appreciate each and every one of you that have made it possible for me to be here. And also, I will say and share with all that as a member of this board, it did not make me an expert into sciences. My study of science is limited. I have a deep respect for all of the comments that have been made, and but I'm wise enough to get a professional opinion when it comes to medical matters that I have no studies in. And I would never, ever, as a board member, put a child at risk when all the medical opinions from the CDC to the local health department to every other entity that exists around in this county tells us that masking our children is the best way to minimize them catching the COVID disease. So I appreciate them. I respect them. You know, we've done some great things as a board, and I've learned a lot since I've been on this board. And when we need an expert, we always call them in. I'm grateful for having engineers. When we want to build a school, we just bought a brickyard property, and there was a lot of concern as to whether that property was suitable for us to build a school on, and were there any toxicities that would harm our children, and then would the school stand on a brickyard property that may had some improper fillings far as building a school on. So that being said, you know, we didn't hesitate to get the experts. I don't hesitate now to agree with the experts. And for every child that's in the school system that I'm responsible for as a board member, I know this has been kicked down to us. The governor didn't make a decision, the State Board of Education didn't make a decision, so it was in our laps. So as a board member, I'm proud to say that I will go with option 2, and that is that our children be masked to keep them safe from the COVID-19 virus, along with the Delta virus. So that is my opinion. Thank you, President.
Thank you, Bishop Charles. Okay. You've heard.
I'm ready to speak.
Oh, are you ready
Yes,
now?
ma'am.
Okay. Mrs. Smalley?
Our number one duty as members of the Cabell County Board of Education is to provide for the safety and well-being of all students and staff. It is our responsibility to base our decisions on facts and data from medical experts and input from parents, school employees, and community members. We have listened to speakers, read multiple emails, and heard from infectious disease experts, our own chief medical officer, and the county health department. It is evident that the surge of the Delta variant presents a clear and present danger to all of us, including our youngest children who are not eligible for the vaccine. We want all students to return to in-person learning in the absolute safest environment possible. We don't want another shutdown. We understand that every parent here cherishes their children, and we know you are advocating for what you feel is best for your child. We as board members are also parents or grandparents of many students in this school system. We respect you and share your anxiety and concern over what the future holds. The bottom line is our decision must be made with the safety and overall well-being of all students and staff in mind. I am in favor of option 2.
Okay. Then we are ready to take the official vote. Okay.
Madam Chairman, I'll offer. No, please go ahead. No, sir. Dr. Sachs, please go.
Okay, I'm going to ask for a motion first for option 1, which is you can set option 1, you can mask your kids if you want to, and if you don't want to, it's your right not to. I beg your pardon, sir?
In other words, it's the parents' decision. It's not
Order, please.
That's what I'm saying, sir. That's what the mask protocol for option 1 is. So I'm going to ask for a motion on mask protocol option 1. So I'll need a motion.
Madam President, I make a motion that we accept mask protocol, option 1, as presented by Dr. Sachs.
Second.
It's been moved by Mrs. Bond, seconded by Mr. Parsons, that we go with option 1. All those in favor signify, well, I'm going to roll call this just to be, everybody knows. Mrs. Smalley?
No.
Yes.
Yes. Freedom.
Yes.
Okay, so, and
Bishop Charles.
God.
I'm still here, Madam President.
I don't know.
I'm not going anywhere.
I don't know.
Not right now.
I apologize, Dr. Shaw. Bishop Shaw.
Always been on edge.
Bishop Shaw.
Yes, ma'am. No, absolutely not.
No, okay. So there's three for option one. So option two, there's really not much sense in asking for a motion or anything because it will fail. So we are now going with option one, which will let the parents decide. Okay, if you sit back down, we're going to ask for a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I make a motion, we adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Mr. Parsons moves, Mrs. Bond second. This meeting is now adjourned. All those in favor?
Aye.
Say aye.